Alright, it's December 23rd, taking a video for the Great Christmas Light Fight. This is the Fraser family Christmas scene. It's a circular drive style Christmas scene where you can walk or drive round. One of the added components about driving around is that the headlights show everything off a little bit more in detail. The circular driveway has the perfect arc for your headlights to hit almost everything as you go through here. Highlight on this boat right here is the sail and how it's made out of lights, and how my dad built the sail and the water going up on the edge of the boat. This was a boat that he built for one of the plays that his kids were in when they were attending Evergreen Christian. Here's the sign that says the hours of operation, and the minions are there hanging out saying hello. The dates, it goes from December 5th to January 1st. To your right, you've got Big Bird and the gang in the schoolhouse. The schoolhouse has a bell that's made out of plywood, and the schoolhouse topping on the top that you don't see most places. All these cutouts are from plywood. They are hand painted, hand cut. Some of them are drawn. They all have a unique detail that's added from whatever its origination form was. This is the front of the house here. Every aspect of the house has lights around the trim board, but you can see here you've also got extra icicle lights in the windows all around the house here. What you're looking at here is about 3/4 of an acre of property that's lit. Next year, if we were to add something, I was talking with my nephew, if we were to get in the Great Christmas Light Fight, is we could add some lights to the interior part of the circle drive with where the orchard is. And also there is a 200 or 300 foot tree that could be one of those mega trees that you see on most of the shows that you're at. Here's the arcade that my dad also built for one of the plays that we were in as kids, and these are a lot of the characters that we saw on TV watching growing up. He let us pick out some of these characters. If you didn't look closely enough, you might miss that there's a Nutcracker and M&Ms along the edge there. So here is what my dad calls the cabin, and his shop is connected to that. Up on the rooftop there, you've got the elf being pulled along, lit up string from Santa, who's taking off the roof. Look at him go. On to the next place, Santa. Rudolph lighting the way. Almost missed on the right-hand side here that Thomas, can't see Tinkerbell quite there, and Princess Celestia. Those were picks from my kids for about 2 years ago. The front of this house has got Merry Christmas made from lights that he drilled holes in. My dad drilled holes in to make it say Merry Christmas. So it's definitely like something that he built, not necessarily was bought from the store. The train is kind of a cool aspect. That is a store-bought component, but it helps light up the front of the shop cabin portion of the house. If you look closely, I haven't been pointing them out, but you've got candles on the door frames. You've got candy canes that are lit up in the back of some of the characters. You've got Santa taking a bath. On the lights that are along the edge of the driveway, you can look right there. There's about 60 of these candy canes around the edge of the driveway. There's the well and the inn. I spoke on the interview about how components of the inn have some details to them you might miss. If you get up a little bit closer here to the inn, watch your step, Matt. The edge of these boards are jagged like they would have been in a manger back when. And it's tongue and groove plywood. Inside, actually, there is a hayloft right there. where the animals could feed, and you've got baby Jesus hanging out there inside one of the food troughs. Woo! Having fun now. Little Christmas tree up there. A lot of people might miss that if they didn't know to look for it. It's one of those details that people miss. The lights on the frame of the building here. These are the new additions this year. Welcome Inside Out characters. Sadness, that was my oldest daughter's pick. Joy, middle daughter. And Anger, that's my son's pick. Got candy canes going on there, accenting the edges of the shed. This is a shed where we store some of the characters in just general storage. Most of these buildings from here on out are storage for the Christmas scene. Santa's Workshop was one of the things that my dad put up on top of the elementary school that he worked at. He made these characters here for a play that was going on at the high school that he was the custodian at the time. Oh look, there's the North Pole, another detail that might not be picked up by the person who may not have put it together. Back in the back here, he's got 7 acres of property. There's an inn, and it says on it, can't read it from here, it says no room in the inn. A lot of people focus on Christmas scene and they talk about the manger scene, but they forget sometimes that there was no room in the inn. So my dad thought this would be a critical component. The siding on this inn is quite kind of cool. It's overlapping, but it's not. Merry Christmas. It's not the overlapping side downward. It's to the edges. It's older craftsman style look. Candy house, one of my favorites here. When I actually was taking into consideration how many cutouts there were in this scene, I said there was over 100. I neglected completely to count all the decorations that are on this candy house. They're lit up with lights. Look there's candy canes, there's lollipops, there's ice cream. It's just all over this thing. There's, oh look, lifesavers on the top. There's a fence here on the edge of it is an entryway. George is hanging out in there. When you go in here, there's a full-size fireplace built inside of the candy house. It's been decorated with stockings and lights. It's even got wood down at the bottom. It's got bows and tinsels. What an inviting place to be. Uh-oh, there's the Abominable. The first year I built characters, I was like, you can't have Rudolph without the Abominable. So I built that sucker right there. I started building characters in 2010, I believe. I'm gonna go to the right here, pan to the right, so that you can see. There's a church, steeple on the church. The lines drawn on the church. Most of these characters have floodlights that are lighting them up. Like I said before, your car headlights will help light them as well. This is a framed out Christmas tree that has rebarb and steel in it. It's one of the original ones out there before you saw some of these modern day people making them. You get to look and see how strong this thing is welded and built together. It's heavy too. There's some more of those candy cans I was talking about. When we landed on the moon, my dad actually built this spaceship to represent that the United States had landed on the moon. He actually built a moon to go with it too, but a storm back in 1972 blew the moon all to pieces. So now you've got the spaceship, and you've also got a satellite floating around there. Now we're coming to the end of the driveway. Got the Peanuts characters. Snoopy actually stays up year-round. When you tell people who are looking for a location in this area, my house is the next house down. If they've seen the Snoopy house and you're getting close, they're like, oh yeah, I know, I've gone there every Christmas. I know right where that place is. It's become something of a landmark for this location. I know Janelle asked me specifically to get a shot of the dwarfs, which I did, but I'm gonna walk back to them. It's not as well lit as my dad made reference to this direction, because it's meant to be driven in one direction. All the lighting is that way. So here are the 7 dwarves. They're older for sure. They're one of the original 6 in the 1960s. You got Dopey, Sneezy, Bashful, Grumpy, Happy, and Doc. They're working in Santa's workshop. It's another one of those things that you may not notice. One time, about 10 years ago, we had people, they were on a car scavenger hunt, and they said, hey, the Santas have an apostrophe on it? I'm like, what do you need that for? And they're like, oh, it's a scavenger hunt. That just goes to show how big of a landmark this house is. You got people on the community who use